When we were starting to print the scraper grip in an earlier video, we noticed a message on the screen that read, "Time-lapse is not supported because print sequence is set to, quote, by object," close quote. We just ignored the message and pressed confirm, but what does that message mean? If we observe the beginning of the print, we notice that the print handle is printing, but that the other two pieces of the model are not printing. Let's jump ahead to see what happens. The handle is finishing up, and then the printer jumps over and starts printing the finger grip. So it's printing the individual pieces or objects of the model one after the other instead of all at the same time, layer by layer. We'll jump ahead again and see what happens after this object finishes printing. Once again, with the second object finished, the printer moves over to the third and final object in this print. And finally, the third object is complete and the print is done. To see how printing by object is accomplished, let's take a look at the scraper grip file. On the SD card, I'll right-click on scraper grip and open with Bambu Studio. And we'll click OK. Close this window. Zoom in on the models, on the objects. These blue lines are the movements of the tool head. You can see in the back where it's being cleaned off, and in the front when it's laying down the calibration lines. I find them distracting, so over here in this menu, under Options, the tool head travel option, I will click to not display that, and then I'll close this drop-down menu. Now on the right-hand side, if I use the slider, you can see that indeed each of those separate objects were printed one after the other. What is the setting that allowed this to happen? If we go over to the right and choose Others and scroll down, under Special Mode, you'll see a Print Sequence option, and you'll see that it's set right now to By Object. And we know that this is not the default setting because the reset arrow is present. If we click the drop-down menu, we'll see that the default is to print by layer, not by object. Let's see if we can replicate this ourselves. I'll click on Prepare. It says that the scraper grip will be closed. Do I want to continue? Yes. And I'll discard these values. Now I'm going to right-click on the print bed and add a primitive. I'll add a cube. With that selected, I'll copy and paste so that I have two of them. Under Others, you can see that the default is to print by layer. So if I click Print Preview and close these so we can see what's going on, and I'll use the slider, you can see that indeed, as we expect, both cubes are printed simultaneously, layer by layer. I'll go back to Prepare, and I'll change by layer to by object. Time-lapse will not work. That's fine. I'll say yes. And I get an error message. Cube is too close, and it will cause a collision. And you can see the shadowy areas indicating how much space you need to provide. So I'll move one cube to this corner, and I'll move this cube to this corner, and the error message goes away. I'll go ahead and close these two messages. Once again, click Preview, and close all of these so we can see what's going on. And if I use the slider, you'll see that one cube is printed first, and then the second cube is printed after that. So that's how you can print different objects in their entirety without having to print both at the same time, layer by layer.